Survive the night.
Survive the night.
Oh God! What's that? Oh God! Survive the night.
The only horror movie I've seen stoned was Unfriended. And that movie, for the first 45 minutes, I'm just gripping the arms of the chair, so fucking scared, ready for something to happen. But then nothing happened. But because I was so stoned, I was like...
Unfriended, you said?
Yeah, I think that was it.
Yeah. Oh, it's like the computer...
Yeah, where it's over like webcam and stuff. Yeah. It's not a good movie.
The only horror movie outside of Paranormal Activity that I remember watching stoned was this horror movie with Kiefer Sutherland. Fuck, what was it called?
Lost Boys.
No.
Oh.
Mirror, maybe? No. Mirrors? Was it Mirrors? I think it was Mirrors. Do you guys remember seeing that?
No.
It wasn't good.
That's good.
So in that sense, being stoned watching that had no effect at all.
I don't watch movies in theaters stoned very often, so...
I don't either, to be honest. I do anytime I watch a horror movie with my brother, because he enjoys smoking weed before watching movies in theaters. It was either about mirrors or cameras.
No, okay.
There was that movie about, is it Shudder? The one where I only remember the very end, where the guy was complaining about back pain the whole time, and he drops his camera and takes a picture of himself, and then looks at it, and there's a dead girl holding on to him.
Oh,
I can't remember what it was, but the whole movie was shit, except for that last part.
Because that sounds terrifying.
Yeah,
that's unfortunate.
I think the scariest entertainment relating to cameras for me was the Fatal Frame games.
I was going to say that. Yeah, I couldn't play those. Even the one on N64, what the time was?
There was one on N64.
I don't think so.
It was on PS2?
PS2.
Yeah.
PS2.
The PS2 one was the first one I played. It was Fatal Frame 2.
Yeah. Couldn't play it.
I played it for a bit, but I definitely never finished it because
it's too scary. There's too many jump scares. Count me out.
Speaking of jump scares, are we ready to go? Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us on Ep.5 of Survive the Night podcast. My name's Amir. I am co-hosting with Andy...
Hey.
And Ryan.
Yes.
And yeah, we're going to be talking about the first Paranormal Activity movie, which in terms of popularity, I guess, it was kind of a resurgence for the found footage genre of horror films.
A lot of people would argue that this is the film that really kicked it off.
Really?
Because a lot of the found footage came after Paranormal Activity.
At least the more popular ones.
Even more so than Blair Witch, you think?
Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it came out in an era where it was more accessible for people to make movies.
And it was
cheaper.
very, Blair Witch was obviously very successful,
Mm-hmm.
but this was even more successful.
And what year did Paranormal Activity come out in, the first one?
2007. I did my research.
Oh, okay.
Briefly.
Cloverfield, another super popular found footage movie, came out a year after. I didn't realize that.
Oh.
I thought Cloverfield would have been older.
Again, I think it was they were probably in production when Paranormal Activity came out, but...
Yeah, off the bat, you might have heard us talking about it in the preamble. Watching this movie in theaters, super baked, with the fucking sold-out show, obviously well before COVID days, was... genuinely one of the most terrifying experiences I've ever had in theaters and just in movies in general. I watched it fairly recently. I want to say I watched this last year, and I still really enjoyed it, but not all of us feel that way.
I just watched it today. I still enjoy it. It didn't scare me obviously as much as it did in theaters. It scared the poop out of me.
The first time I watched it, I think I torrented it because I was a fucking bad boy. Do my own stuff.
Anywho.
He's smoking a cigarette in here.
I was the bad boy in my trailer park. What can I say?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the first time I watched it, scared the hell out of me. Mainly preamble to the hauntings, when like the camera would speed up to the haunting, and he would almost always play like a sound that you would hear in the silence, so that you knew the
humming.
Yeah, so that something was happening. That scared the hell out of me.
Yeah.
I also watched it today and thought I was gonna fall asleep because it was so boring.
One of the things for me in this movie that just stick out, which relate very much to trauma as a kid, is I was a very paranoid kid, and every little sound that I'd hear in my house, I figured it was something that would be terrifying if I were to see it, even though it's just like a house sound, your house shifting. And I feel like this movie, for me, still, if I were to watch it today, right now, sounds that you hear, which in this movie are implied to be paranormal in nature, just fucking trigger me. I can't help but being triggered.
I think a lot of the banging noises, the fact that it's in your house, in your bedroom, that is the part that scares me the most.
I remember really being scared by this movie the first time I saw it, because it felt so like it was so much more subtle than most movies would be, and it was like this feels like something that could actually happen, obviously up until kind of the ending stuff. But the second time I watched it, I lost all the magic from it. This was the type of movie for me where it was like one and done. The first time I watched it, amazing, and then I just can't really rewatch it.
So it wasn't that the second time devalued it for you? It was just you're just retreading the same ground, nothing new, nothing to relearn in your second watching.
And rewatching it is like it doesn't have that impact.
Yeah, sure.
Like so many movies will have that first time you watch it, right?
Yeah, I get that.
We're all just dead inside, I guess, to be honest. Here's the synopsis. Soon after moving into the suburban tract home, Katie and Mika become increasingly disturbed by what appears to be a supernatural presence, hoping to capture evidence of it on film.
So, there's going to be a lot of similarities to the Blair Witch Project. Mainly Mika and Katie, the two main actors. That's their real names.
Yes.
And again, they improvised almost everything.
Really?
Yeah. They were kind of given general instructions on what to do and then just play it out. The two other... Well, I guess there's like 3 or 4
There's just two other actors.
No, there's
Isn't there?
Katie's friend is also in it.
I thought it was just her sister and then the
was
one
it?
guy.
Her sister and then 2 guys?
I thought it was just like
the medium and the doctor something.
Right.
Those 2 are actual
actors.
Paranormal people.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
At least one of them is. I know that.
Were they told that it was a real thing? Or
no.
it was
I think
acting?
they were just brought in because they would be able to give a more real feel to it, right?
The thing that I totally forgot about this movie is that when it starts, they already know there's something going on. Usually when movies are like this, they start recording or noticing it in the middle of it.
Yeah, I also was caught off guard because, like I said, I haven't seen it in so long.
I haven't seen it since it came out.
That as soon as the movie starts, it's literally just, hey, I got this camera so we can record the scary stuff that's going on. And I really appreciated that because you kicks
right
you into the movie.
Yeah. You already know that you're in a horror movie. I also like at the beginning that they're so unknown, these actors, and they seem very genuine.
Mm-hmm.
They did kind of a same-ish thing as the Blair Witch Project, where they laid low for like a couple weeks after the movie came out to try and give it a more believable.
Right. I don't think it had that same impact because it's 2007.
Yeah. But I also think it did have a bit of an impact, and I found this really interesting that I didn't even think about or notice the first time I watched it. There's no real credits. There's no credits in the beginning. The only credit is to the company.
I do vaguely remember that now, yeah.
Yeah, so that part gives it, for me, that
a little more realism.
It gives it that real genuine kick to it. Right?
It's not not at the end going to be special thanks to
it was
Pepsi Cola.
Yeah, it just ends with his body was found however many days later. Katie is still
large,
loose or whatever. Yeah, and then it just ends.
Yeah, for me, it wasn't like Blair Witch in that sense, because I knew going in that there was no actual...
It did feel like it was a real thing.
It felt that way, but I knew it wasn't.
No. Like, why would they be releasing... First of all, how old are we at this time? I'm 19. You'll be 18.
How old am I?
I'm 15.
I'm 19.
You're 15 right now.
Yes.
Wait, how old are you actually right now?
Right now?
Yeah.
29?
Oh, wow. Okay, so that makes sense. Yeah, I was 19.
Such a young,
I know.
youthful man.
I'm 33.
I always forget that you're older than me.
Yeah.
Why do I look the oldest out of everybody? That's not fair.
No, you got gray in your beard.
I don't know if I agree that you look the oldest.
I think I do.
I don't.
It's my job.
I think we all look pretty young, honestly. We're good-looking guys.
Yeah.
I fuck. It's whatever.
What were we talking about?
How old we were when this movie came
Oh,
out.
so I was 19,
Me
you'd be
too.
18.
I also wanted to
15.
touch on how you said you didn't really believe this one, but you kind of believed the Blair Witch.
Yeah.
The one that I believed was the fourth kind.
Yeah.
That one,
Right.
100% when I watched it, I was like, this is real. Holy shit, this is terrifying. And I posted it online. I was like, this is the realest shit I've ever seen. And then somebody was like, this is just a movie, right? This is fake.
Mila Jovovich is in the movie.
Yeah, but she's like talking.
She was... What else should she
was
be
like
doing?
She was like a news person. Maybe they got a fancy actor
What?
to do it, right? The scene where the person levitates from the bed and contorts.
Yeah, I know.
I was like, this is real.
Well, we're gonna have to watch that one.
Yeah,
coming
that's
out.
one I want to actually watch because I've never seen it.
But like Mila Jovovich, she was a prominent actor at that time.
When did the movie come out? Can you check that?
The Fourth Kind?
Yeah.
Because she'd done Resident Evil.
2009.
Yeah,
so that came
so
out after
Fifth
Paranormal
Element.
Do you want to know when I stared recognizing and remembering like actors and all that
Okay.
stuff? When I met you. So I didn't know shit.
Yeah, makes sense.
He just has a bad memory.
I had like maybe 50 movies before I met you.
No,
I'm
he's
sorry I held a gun at your head.
Swimming in... There's actually 1,000 movies just in this room, so that's where Ryan's at now.
I don't think there's 1,000. I did count a while ago.
Oh, really? There's got to be at least 200.
I have like 300 or 400.
Some of them are TV shows.
All right, where are we at in this movie right now?
Oh.
This is Paranormal Activity.
So they have the equipment. The hauntings have happened. I wrote down here that they have too much money. Because they have a really nice house.
Well,
that's
to
beautiful.
say that, he's a day trader.
Apparently you don't make as much money as you think as a day trader.
Maybe he just does really good for himself.
But maybe he does. Maybe it's a movie.
Having the camera and all that stuff and seeing him use it, he was the cameraman in the movie. He's the one using it the entire time.
I figured as such, yeah.
And just something that Ryan referred to earlier was the whole improvisation aspect. It's actually called retro scripting, apparently, which is a term I've never heard of.
where they make the script after they've done everything.
So if you were dating somebody who had already been having problems
Get the fuck out.
throughout her life
No.
or his life, would you stay with them?
No.
Really, you bringing this stuff?
What?
In my house?
Yeah. No, there's some,
Have you seen this house? We've got 3 bathrooms and a pool.
So it's not something that it's not like, there's those standard questions you ask a partner.
Prerequisite when you go on a dating site?
Yeah, so I'm like, hey, have you been, haunted by demons before?
And she doesn't tell him until they've been dating for like almost 3 years.
And see, that makes it tougher. If it was something I learned about somebody earlier on in a relationship, I think I would want to get out, honestly.
I
You
think
just never know.
at first I'd be like, this could be interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Me
I've
too.
left relationships for less. So
Like, honestly, the parts of my brain would be like, this is interesting. Maybe this could just be something fun or cool.
Yeah.
This person has a mental illness and I need to leave.
yeah.
The 3-year thing, though, I think at the beginning I'd be like, oh yeah, okay, whatever. It's just stuff moving around. I don't really care. I also don't really believe it. It's once the movie starts really ramping up that I'd be like, all right, listen here.
Listen here, lady.
Relationships are about trust and communication. I know I don't really do that.
You either get rid of this fucking demon or you're out.
So everybody out there listening, really make sure you put on your Tinder profiles. if you have a ghost or a spirit.
Yeah. Do you have a ghost
attached to you?
buddy attached to you? Demon buddy? STD?
No possessed girls.
She mentions that once the movie starts, ramping up, she started noticing things when she was 8, and then 13, and then again in the present. And she, when she was a child, there was a bad fire at her place. Everything was destroyed.
Mm-hmm. And I think probably in a later episode, or even in like a series of a couple of episodes, we'll probably go into it a bit more, because it is pretty interesting, the whole, I guess you would just say, mythos of the...
Did you say mythos or myth?
I said mythos.
Oh.
Mythos.
But I heard mythos.
No.
No.
I was listening very closely. You said mythos.
No, I hear people say mythos.
Oh, okay.
That's what I've heard is mythos.
No, that's not what he said.
Mythos.
It's mythos.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Mythos.
it is pretty interesting. Obviously, the movies go downhill pretty
No.
hard. Jesus Christ.
Anyway, continue.
I don't want to be on the podcast anymore. No. But yeah, it would be interesting to get into all this stuff, because like, she's talking about all this stuff in the movies, and they use those ideas in the other movies, which I really like.
Oh, I do love that, how they connect everything.
Yeah.
I don't even know if they had that plan, though, because who knew that...
He did. So
He did.
The producer, director, writer, and overall creator of the Paranormal Activity franchise, his name is, probably going to say this wrong.
Oren Peli?
Oren Peli, yeah. He did have an idea
Okay.
of doing a whole series. Unfortunately, it kind of just got away from him. Especially if you look up some other films that he's made. He has made some
Poopers.
bombs, yeah.
He's only produced most of these other movies.
Yeah, that was the only one that he wrote and directed.
He hasn't directed... He directed one other one, maybe, Area 51,
That's right.
which I don't...
He's done a
He
bunch of other
also
movies.
he also wrote Chernobyl Diaries.
Yeah, which is
Okay.
another movie. Like, both those movies were a huge bust. I actually have here... This is actually... it hurts to read. His follow-up film, Area 51, had a budget of $5 million, and it only made roughly $7,000.
What?
Yeah. Because I don't think it went to theater. It just went direct to DVD
It
or whatever.
sucks.
and video on demand.
I'm pretty sure I've seen it too. Oh, God.
I don't know, like, this also happens with the Blair Witch Project, where the people, making that movie don't really end up doing anything afterwards. The actor that plays Katie in the movie, she's in other sequels of this franchise. But that's about it,
Yeah,
really.
she's not doing anything else. Can you look up, I don't know his last name, but Mika, he looks really familiar.
He hasn't
Like,
done
he's been
anything either.
Really? He hasn't
Yeah.
been in anything else?
Not like
He's got a very familiar face.
he has a...
His name's Michael Sloat, or Mika Sloat, sorry. And after Paranormal Activity 1, he was in Part 2 and the marked ones, and that's it.
That's it.
I think it's just like flashback stuff. So
They,
it's just very odd that always happens with these like very
Mm-hmm.
successful low budget horror movies.
and it's unfortunate too, because they did not get paid much.
No,
I bet.
I can't remember exactly. It was like $300 or $500 or something.
God.
And they had to try and get their contract or whatever redone to try and get some of the residuals, because the film made a lot of money.
yeah, it did. It probably still makes a ton of money. Going back to the movie again, most of the disturbances in this movie happen at the witching hour, like around 3:30 a.m. The first major one, I think, was when Katie wakes up out of bed, walks around, and just stands at the edge of the bed for several hours.
Yeah, you see the timestamp on the camcorder, or you notice that time is going by super quickly, but
Yeah.
she's just standing in the same spot for what seems to be hours.
Yeah, they just fast forward it.
and it's fucking
There's
terrifying.
a really early part where I think she calls for Mika. God, I just watched this movie and I can't remember already. He runs down and she's like, "Look, my keys are on the
Keys?
ground. and they were over there, and he's like, yeah, I'm sure they just got knocked down, the wind, or you accidentally moved them. That's exactly what I would say.
Yeah.
So this whole movie, after watching it today, I've basically figured out it's an allegory for a toxic relationship, an abusive relationship.
And you think she's abusing him?
No, he is abusing her throughout the whole movie.
By ignoring her?
Gaslighting her.
Yeah.
He always wants to be in control, because throughout the movie, she's asking him to do all these things. Get a priest, get a demonologist, get all these things, and he's just ignoring it, being like, oh, it's just somebody messing with us.
It is very frustrating every time she's like, we should call the demonologist or whatever up or bring the medium back, and he's like, no, this is my house, I'll solve the problems. And it's like,
it's like basically another thing is the whole thing of he is the one, it's in his point of view throughout the whole thing. The male gaze, his male arrogance throughout the whole thing. So he's the one pretty much dictating the whole movie. So that's another way to look at it.
In terms of another scare to deviate from his assholeness, one of the things that really freaked me out was there's one scene where, again, we were talking about this earlier, like a loud bang downstairs.
Which happens throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, and this particular one that I'm thinking about, there's a chandelier that's like moving back and forth.
Yeah.
And again, something that I always fear happening to me in whatever place I'm living in.
Have you lived in that house for a long time?
The house.
Yeah.
Yeah, on and off.
And it's a bigger house.
Yeah.
And like, it does kind of give me that kind of same feeling.
Totally. And yeah, the hallways in that house always have creeped me out, even still to this day. Haven't really experienced anything outside of just feelings, thankfully.
Another thing we talked about earlier was like the humming noise, like the low pitch.
That's what really got under my skin when I watched it the first time.
And you guys are just talking about the static noise of the camera, right?
No, it was right after, like, it would speed up or whatever, it would stop before the haunting stuff started, and then like a humming sound would come in. But not all the time, I noticed too.
No,
yeah,
it's like a low pitch.
Yeah,
it just kind of like just creeps up on you, and then something happens.
I think it's supposed to kind of like, my interpretation is supposed to be like that. You know, when you're laying in bed or you're somewhere where there's no noise going on, but you still hear stuff in your ears. It kind of like that, and it'll ramp up, and then something will happen.
Fuck, yeah. I don't remember that at all.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's throughout the whole movie.
That was definitely the biggest part for me when I first watched it, was because that was something new that people weren't really doing, and it would really like set you on edge, being like, what's going to happen next?
Also, again, like the whole found footage thing, there is no music to the movie, so that they have to add something to maybe add more of a creepiness to it.
They call it the ghost frequency, apparently. There's actually a YouTube video of... even if this is outside the podcast, I just really want to hear this because I don't remember this at all. Volume's on max right now. Do you hear it though?
Yeah,
is that it?
That's roughly what it sounds like, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Anyway, they want to play with a Ouija board.
Of course they do.
At least...
Well, they don't.
Sorry, Katie does it.
Yeah.
Katie is telling Mika, don't do this. Please don't do this. And he's like, we gotta do this. We gotta communicate with this damn thing. Anyway, like even at the beginning, she also tells him not to be recording this. Because he wants to get proof. So basically this whole thing is getting angry because he's filming. But
the weird thing that I found after researching some of the stuff and then watching the movie, like, he's got a pretty fucking nice camera, right? Mm-hmm. But
he even talks about how much money he spent.
But they use just a home movie camera is what it's been filmed with.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it looks real crazy.
So the Ouija board, they're back to that. He uses it, or tries, like he's about to use it.
And then she's like, you fucking bring this shit? My house? Your house, technically. But our house? In the middle of the street.
I just got it.
So yeah, he leaves the room, or they both leave, and then it starts to move, and then it catches on fire. The Ouija board, not the house.
Which, like, because then they come back, right? And he's like, yo, look at what happened to the board.
Yeah, it says like, oh, there looks like something has
Been scratched
into it.
Like, what? But, Andrew, what would you do?
Oh my god.
But with the Ouija board?
Like,
Just in that situation.
you had the Ouija board. It's just there. Let's say you go out, you come back, and something's happened to the
Oh man,
Ouija board.
I would just. I don't know. If I've already brought it out, and I'm like, well, I guess I have to deal with these consequences now. I'd be freaking out, obviously, and maybe tearing up a bit.
For me, personally...
You don't believe in that stuff. So.
No, but the other thing is, and I've had this for, like, just random stuff in my own life, is obviously, like, I have my own, like, mental stuff I deal with, right? And all this other stuff. And I think I would be like, was this board always like this? And I think my mind would just be like, you just don't remember. And that happens to me quite a bit
It
in
happens
life
to me
already.
with food. Like, oh, I ate this tasty granola bar, but I think it's still there.
Oh, I know when I eat, okay?
But
Last night, I made spaghetti.
Oh really?
And
It levitated.
it had... no, but, like, it had weight to it. Like...
And there was less weight the next time you got to it.
it was like this big, and that high full of spaghetti, and I ate the whole thing. I didn't feel very good afterwards. Had my own exorcism, if you know what I mean.
You need a priest.
Got the shit beat out of him.
What I'm getting at is, your boy knows how to eat.
I first of all would not bring a Ouija board into any situation, even though I wanted to bring one into this podcast.
Especially
when there's already
if your
demons around.
partner is having like these problems that have plagued her whole life.
And then honestly, after the fact of realizing that something has interfered with it, I would be scared to be scared. Because I feel like if the more I fear this now, the more I open my mind up to inviting whatever this is to attack me.
And that's what progresses throughout the film, is that she is terrified and he is just ignoring her, and they're fighting, and then this is starting to upset this thing even more, or not upset it, it's being
Growing like more hostile.
I feel like these
because
things
of the
like
negative energy. in the
feast
house,
on the
right?
negative energy, right?
which is what is happening throughout it. He's denying her everything. He's trying to be in control, and like even with like, there's a scene where he's putting down powder everywhere throughout the house. The powder's to see if someone is coming into them and fucking with them.
Yeah.
And then they wake up at 3 a.m, and like the loud bang, and the humming, and then there's like these demon or like almost chicken like footprints.
Yeah, it's like three
like
yeah.
And she's getting upset of that because she didn't even want that to happen. She just wanted to see the demonologist.
Yeah. And we haven't seen the demonologist at this point.
No,
yet, right?
because he keeps refusing to do it, and then the next morning.
Well, I know there's the one scene where they're like, I couldn't get a hold of the demonologist or whatever, so but can we bring the medium back? And he's like, yeah, fine. And the medium comes in and he's like, the energy in here is attacking me. I got to go.
Yeah. I gotta go.
That performance was very convincing too, that guy.
Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah.
And again, I'm pretty sure he's an actual researcher of this stuff as well.
And then once that happens, things are like so bad. I also want to point out throughout this whole thing, they don't ask for help from anybody. And they should have been. They've isolated themselves mostly throughout this whole thing.
And anytime Mika's like, oh, I've been doing this, or we should do that. Like, I remember the scene where Katie and then her friend are doing something. Yeah. And he's mentioning it, and even her friend's like, no, I shouldn't do any of that stuff. Shouldn't do any of that stuff. And he's like, listen here, bitch.
Yeah. Yeah, he is a...
I never thought of, like, the toxic relationship thing, and now that I'm thinking about it, like that...
Oh, man, watching it through today, I was like, I know he dies at the end, and I'm like, I don't care that he dies at the end. He deserves everything coming to him.
It's just implied that he dies, so like, there's no
No, it
confirmation.
says that he dies. His body's
they say,
found.
Yeah,
Oh, I don't
Yeah.
know that.
he a dead boy.
I have written down here, like, calls for The Exorcist. Too late. I also want to bring up the fact that, like, throughout the whole thing, like, at the beginning, again, with, like, the toxic relationship type thing, he is trying to constantly get Katie to, like, have sex with him on camera. And she is saying, like, no, like, this is, no, why would we do that?
Yeah.
And she's in, like, in a terrified state. And he's like, oh, come on, let's do this.
Come on, let's make some home movies.
It's just so gross. And,
Fuck that demon. I'm a demon in the sack.
oh. Anyway, so I think there's another scene that really creeps me out is like it's just like a thing where she's
Outside?
the one where she's outside.
Yeah, is
like,
that where you're building up to?
I think
Okay, anyways, continue, sorry.
she's at one point she's just like, oh, we got to get out of here, we got to leave, we got to finally get out of here, go visit family. And he's like, okay, I packed the bags. And then she, like it goes to the next day, and she is in bed sleeping, and she's like, I don't want to leave now.
Yeah. The scene that I was thinking of was, I think he wakes up and he's looking for her.
Yeah.
He doesn't know where
Looks
she
all over
is.
for her.
And finally he finds out that she's outside in the back, and she's sitting on this, like, chair that rocks, the little bench that rocks back and forth. And he's trying to get her, she's just, like, completely lost.
She's
in
like
a
almost
daze.
comatose. Yeah.
To play off the scene where he lays the powder down to catch the demon's footsteps, and then they follow it into a
The
closet
attic.
that has the attic part in there.
Yeah.
I would just immediately be like, fuck, we got homeless people in the house.
Who have 3 toes.
'Cause
that
I
are-
would be like, oh my god, there's Chicken Boy.
Well, I've been on an Ask Reddit subreddit binge lately, and I was reading one where the question was like, "What's one of the most messed up things that's happened in your house or in your life?" And so many things were about a homeless person or somebody breaking into their house
just
and
to stay
living
there.
in
Yeah.
there.
Oh man, I've heard stories about that too, and that is fucking terrifying.
Which is not the fault of the homeless person, obviously. They're just trying to survive. But yes, that would be very terrifying.
Just have, like, food randomly missing and you have no idea why.
Weird. What are they called? Bindles or whatever.
like those are old, like like
They're all
TV
over the
hobos.
place.
TV hobos.
There's cans of beans everywhere.
The littlest hobo. Wait, what was the littlest hobo?
I don't know what.
I think that's like an animal.
Littlest hobo, yeah, was a dog.
Oh, okay.
Really.
That has
I
nothing
thought
to do
it was
with-
like an opossum or something.
It's a homeless dog
Oh.
who helps solve tough problems.
Okay.
Survived for six seasons, apparently.
Okay.
1963 to 1969.
What would you do in that scenario when you find the powder
Yeah.
and the tracks, these demon tracks leading up to the attic? Go.
This one's a lot harder because it's not necessarily evidence of a haunting, in
Yeah.
my opinion, or demon,
I agree.
but it's an evidence of something in your house.
Yeah.
And that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Because my immediate thought's going to be like, holy shit, somebody's in my house. I'm going to die. I don't want to die.
And see, I don't think if I was in that situation, I wouldn't think somebody. Obviously, there's some sort of creature.
Yeah.
Because they're creature prints.
They're creature prints.
That's in my
People
house.
have messed up feet.
Yeah, but not that bad.
There's, how about, like, the lobster boy who killed a bunch of people and literally had
What?
body problems that made him have, like,
He killed
claws.
people too?
Oh, yeah, he
Are you
murdered
serious
shit.
right now?
Yeah,
Lobster boy?
I believe he was lobster boy, yeah.
I'm just gonna Google lobster boy killed people. Oh my god! What?
I'm sorry, is that the sound of
What?
me being...
What the fuck?
That's like he killed people.
He killed people, yeah.
Whoa. Is there any movies about him?
There might be, actually, yeah.
Oh my god, that's like the
I'm
almost
freaking
like
out right
Danny
now.
DeVito.
Okay, hold on.
Penguin.
This has to be a hoax.
It's not a hoax, man.
Oh my god.
Happened, he was part of a Carney family,
Okay.
and...
Great way to grow up. By
He
the
had
way.
a deformity
Yeah,
called ectrodactyly.
he had kids, they had him, his father had it.
Oh my god.
Like,
So, back to my point, it could still be a person with fucked up
I
feet.
can't refute this now after seeing Lobster Boy. Oh my goodness.
so we're gonna go find all the movies based on Lobster Boy right after this. Watch them all.
There's a book about him.
Oh,
There's
The
an
Little
HBO
Mermaid
show
was
called
based off him.
Carnival, American Freak Show. There's a tale about him.
Is he-
American Horror Story.
Yeah,
That
okay.
just went right over. That was a solid joke. You know what? Fuck
What was
both
your
of you.
joke?
I said, oh yeah, The Little Mermaid. Pretty sure
It
Sebastian.
still got me, okay?
Anyway, yeah, back to me in this situation. I would assume that this thing is in the house somewhere, and it just has a really fucking good ability to hide from us for some
Yeah.
reason. And obviously it leads to the attic somewhere, so
Which they then find
nothing.
the old pictures of Katie's home
Oh, right.
and
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, they find this burnt photo of Katie, which she said could not have existed because everything was destroyed in the fire.
Yeah.
So,
Which, that's a tough one, right? Like, it's how much do you care about your significant other? How much are you going to believe them?
Yeah, because at this point you could maybe think that she's fucking with you.
Yeah, or be like, I think I need to take her to like a hospital or
Right.
something.
and they never mention any of that throughout the whole movie.
No,
Nothing
because
to do with
he's
medical.
so up his own ass.
Yeah, he's such a piece of shit, and he's so arrogant, and he's basically the whole thing. I think is that he is the one that's almost possessing her. He has such a possessive hold over her because he needs to protect her in their household.
Yeah, I never
Yeah.
kind of sense her having actual any real sort of mental illness outside of what you're saying.
No,
is-
they don't
is
say anything about
the
that.
relationship being maybe
Fucking-
toxic.
Andy. What the hell's his last name? Andy
Billy.
Ebert over here,
Billy,
like Roger Ebert, the
I'm
famous.
Andrew Marcel.
I'm Roger Ebert.
Yeah, but
Andrew
Andy
Ebert.
What about me?
Because you just blown up the whole movie.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, giving like crazy insight. I never thought
Oh.
about this before.
Yeah. I'm
Same,
mostly
I
going-
never did either.
I'm mostly going over of what Michelle has said, who is my girlfriend, and she had these insights, and I was like, oh, like yeah, this does seem like a very toxic relationship, and the more toxic it gets throughout the movie, the more control the demon has over her.
I got a stupid scenario in my head that she's like explaining what she thinks of the movie, and you're like, I don't remember her giving you permission to speak.
Yeah. When we watch movies, it's me time, baby. Baby.
Okay, that's enough.
Did we get to the end yet?
No,
No.
we're just at her discovering
Oh,
the.
sorry,
photo.
I didn't describe what I would do in that situation with the powder and the
That's
footprints.
fine. No, go for it.
My Uber is here.
Andy's like, yeah, so I would see the powder, and I'd grab a dollar bill, roll it up, and I'd...
Oh
Shut it
no,
up. That's a lot of cocaine.
that's a lot of cocaine.
Except then you'd be like, oh my god, that was flour.
Asbestos. Okay, no wonder we got this house for so cheap. No, I'd grab a broom, sweep it up, and then get the hell out of there. That's probably what I'd do.
So the ending...
Wait, hold on. They never actually talk about leaving, right?
They do.
Yeah.
But only at the end when
At
it's
the
so
very end,
bad.
yeah. And at this point, she's already been fully hooked.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing. I guess it wouldn't have made, like the other movies we've talked about, it wouldn't make any sense at all for them to leave because clearly
It's
been,
followed her throughout
Yeah.
her whole life,
Yeah.
but like
That's
it's
a
just
silly
come
idea.
out in different ways throughout like different, I'm guessing, traumas.
Yeah.
An interesting question that this poses then would be like, all this stuff is happening. Say you're starting to be like, holy shit, this is real. This is actually happening. Would you stay, or would you be like, sorry, I have to go?
Yeah, again, I just feel like at that point, I'm putting myself in her shoes now. It just would seem like resistance to this thing is futile. There's no point in running. Whatever happens.
No,
is
no,
gonna-
I mean, the boyfriend, Mika. Would you stay with the person?
I wouldn't, because at a certain point in the movie, like around the end, there's like that humming, and then during the daytime, there's a loud crack, and you go upstairs, and his picture, or their picture together is cracked, but only on his face, and you still hear that humming, and then you hear, she says, I feel the presence, it's here, we have to leave.
I would leave at that point, because he wakes up to her. Doesn't he wake up to her standing next to the bed?
Yes.
I'm out after that. Cause
yeah, she's wake. No, sorry, she. They both go to sleep, and she gets up again, and then goes to his side of the bed and just stares at him.
If I'm reviewing the tape of this,
your hand motion is, and she just goes in there and just smacks. Really good.
Yeah, and if I go back and review the tape and see how long she fucking stood next to me. I would understand that it's not her. She's maybe possessed. Yeah. I couldn't take that, man.
I also feel like he didn't review the tapes enough at the end.
No, definitely.
He was just like, oh, they're just there for.
I think no matter what, I'd be like, she has a mental illness, and the moment I review the tapes and see her standing over me, be like, I no longer feel safe.
Yeah.
I need to.
I would
get her help first.
Yeah, but then also in certain clips, she is pulled, or like the blanket goes up, and then she's also pulled out of bed.
Honestly,
and like
reliving
dragged down the hallway.
A lot of these moments, I'm like unsettled thinking about.
Yeah. I also don't like how they sleep with the door open all the time.
Oh, fuck.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't like
Yeah.
that?
I hate that.
I hate
would.
that too.
I would sleep with the door open, but I need it to be pitch black when I sleep, so I need everything shut.
Yeah, I can't sleep with the door open just because, again, my mind starts playing tricks on me, and it's always dark outside of the door, so I'm like, fuck, is there something staring at me in the darkness?
Yeah.
The thing I hate the most, and I don't do this nearly as much anymore, but it happens once in a while, but I used to do it constantly when my imagination would go crazy. Whenever it's dark and I'm like, oh, I gotta go to the washroom, like my washroom here is on the other side of the house.
You just shit your bed, right?
Yeah. So it's pitch black, and then I'll be walking and be like, yeah, it's fine, it's dark, I don't give a shit, that's how I walk, yeah. But then this little nugget in my head's like, what if there was a dead lady in that room staring at you? And then I'm like, I was having a good time.
For me, I have a similar thing. It's not there's some dead woman, but it's I'm leaving my room. Everything's pitch black. Getting to the washroom isn't difficult, but when I'm on my way back, I feel like I'm being followed.
Yeah.
A lot of times.
When on my way back, especially because this door is usually opened, I'm like, what if somebody just like came crab walking out of here?
Oh no, dude.
And then all of a sudden I'm trotting a little bit faster.
I don't really feel that way in my place because it's such a small place.
And right next to your bedroom, the washroom. Right?
Yeah. But there has been like things that I imagine or can think about. There was also one time where a guy, this has nothing to do with demons, but like just people in your house that are creeping the fuck out of you. Where a guy upstairs who has a mental health issue was knocking on everyone's door. And I didn't know this person at all. I didn't know. I was very new to the building, and he's starting to knock on everyone's door and being like, I don't think he was trying to say his girlfriend's name. Is Melissa here? To everybody. Is Melissa in here? I'm missing Melissa. And I'm like, there's no, like, I answered the door. And I'm like, there's no Melissa in here. And he's like looking around, and he's like, his face is just glazed right over.
Oh,
and then he lunges in.
No way.
He did. He lunged in, and I was like, holy shit, get out of here, get out of here. And I slammed the door. We had to call the police.
Fuck.
But that's, that's mental health for you.
I am very... Sarah will say otherwise, but I'm very adamant about making sure everything's locked because my home was broken into when I was like 10, and it stuck with me for the rest of my life, I'm sure. Like, my door, my car has to be locked no matter what, which was a huge thing because my grandparents were big into not locking anything, even though like they lived out where like nobody was, but it still's terrifying. But yeah, I always make sure everything's completely locked, and I always look out the peephole before opening a door.
Yeah, I try to do the peephole more now, but like I looked at it. I should have been more aware obviously, but
Yeah, but in those situations too, right? Sometimes your brain's just like,
yeah,
I got
It's just
nothing
hard,
for
right?
this.
that's just it's just this guy that is looking for his girlfriend,
Yeah.
not he's having a psychotic episode and wants to come into your house.
Would you say he was had a sickness?
He does, yes.
Yeah. Was he kind of down with the sickness?
Oh my god.
Was he? What do you think he would have done if he actually got in?
I don't know. I think he would have just probably just hung out in there, but I don't know this person.
Yeah.
I always hear screaming and a lot of things being thrown. So back to the movie.
Yeah. So I guess on to the last scene.
Yeah, the climax of it where it's like she gets up, like almost like the Undertaker sits up, like
Rising out.
rising out of the grave, and then walks down the stairs, and then just a screech. She's screaming for Mika to come downstairs. He freaks out, runs down, and you just hear like scrambling and things
Yelling,
being thrown.
and then all of a sudden it's just his voice completely cuts off.
Yeah, and then you just hear just this loud thumping of something coming up the stairs. You don't see anything, and then you see his body just fly at the camera, and he's, knocked out or dead or whatever, and then she comes out walking with his blood all over her. Sniffs him, and then turns into a demon, and then lunges at the camera.
Which, doesn't that kind of happen in Quarantine as well? The ending?
Quarantine is Jennifer Carpenter's character is like she's hiding somewhere in an attic or something,
and
and
has the camera on it, right?
Yeah, her face is on the camera, and she just gets dragged. You don't see any creature.
That's exactly how Wreck ends too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very iconic kind of ending.
Mm-hmm. And night vision, right?
Yeah, night vision for that one. The Paranormal Activity is still like the bedroom camera seeing everything.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing that scene where she looks like she kind of looks at the camera, and then her face is really normal for the most part, but right into that last point, then her face turns into a demon.
And
That always scared me.
It's really subtle too.
Yeah,
Like super, super subtle.
super subtle.
I think there's a theme in terms of what we enjoy, and it is when filmmakers are more subtle with how they depict things like, demonic people, like The Nun and The Conjuring 2. They could have taken a much more, crazy approach with the design and stuff, but the subtlety just makes it more real, I guess.
Yeah.
What I would do in that scene, say I'm still alive after getting thrown in there, I would forcibly shit myself because that's part of a sign of you being dead. And I would just play dead.
Does the demon understand that, though?
Yeah, does the demon understand
Well,
that?
she's sniffing, so, she catches a whiff of last night's, 5
Spaghetti?
pounds of spaghetti.
I don't know what would I do in that situation. I probably would have turned on some lights and prepared myself for what was happening down the stairs.
I think it really plays into what you were saying about him.
His arrogance.
His arrogance being in control, running down. Because honestly, if I woke up and heard her screaming, probably would have grabbed my phone, locked myself in the washroom, and been like, 911!
So I know, I haven't seen any of them, but I know there are some alternate endings for this movie.
I have some
Okay, Ryan, take it away.
fun facts.
Take it away, toys.
So,
Make it away, toys.
I'll get to that in a minute.
Okay.
I'd like to talk about Oren Peli, the person who created Paranormal Activity.
Producer, director.
Yeah,
And writer.
writer. He did everything. He, that was his first movie ever. Had never been in the industry.
Wow.
Before this, he was a software developer, which helped him create this style of movie. They filmed in his house and just used, like I said, a home...
This was his house.
This was his house.
Holy
And
shit, that's fucking brave, dude.
They
Yeah,
just
I wouldn't be
used-
able to do that. Like,
They just used a home movie camera. That's it. And the actors, the two main ones, Katie and Mika, they helped him with production. They helped him with everything. And then he edited 70 hours of footage all by himself. Because I believe this movie was finished roughly in a week to 10 days.
Oh,
but I
man.
think it took like 2 years or something for him
Wow.
to edit it. Another interesting point, Jason Blum of Blumhouse.
so Jason Blum.
Is it Blum?
Blumhouse.
There's no E though, so
Blumhouse?
technically it's Blum.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It could be Blumhouse, I don't know. Anywho, so Jason Bloom, I'm just going to say Bloom, he helped Pelly get an agent to help him submit his film all over the place to try and get a distributor. And the big reason for it was because he turned down the Blair Witch Project. And he was
Whoa.
like, I'm never doing that again. So that's why he jumped
Wait,
onto
who
this.
turned down the Blair Witch?
Yeah, Jason Bloom.
Wow. Huh. So
Yeah.
was this like the beginnings of that what do you call it? That production studio, like or
It might have been. I don't know if you want to look it up, but I think there was talk of him already having a few movies under his belt in the horror genre before finding out about Paranormal Activity.
Okay. Because they didn't really like. I didn't start seeing like their name everywhere.
It was actually founded in 2000.
Okay.
Really? Yeah. I only remember just recently seeing it, like in the past 5 or 6
they have
years or something.
almost every
So
horror.
even though
title
it
right
was it was founded in 2000, the first major production was Paranormal Activity 7 years later, which
There
is
you go.
kind of crazy.
This one's just kind of fun. It's an urban legend. Basically, Steven Spielberg, he, first of all, he actually, the scene that we see at the end, he suggested it.
The guy being thrown at the camera?
Yeah, the original scene was supposed to be, I think, the cops come and just shoot everybody.
Oh.
But Spielberg watched it and he's like, I love this movie. It scared the hell out of me. You should do this for the ending.
Well, that's
instead."
much better than just
I
being shot
think
by
they
cops.
actually did film that scene for like the deleted scenes.
Yeah,
and-
there's actually 3 endings that they filmed.
Okay, so I remember
Yeah.
actually seeing that one.
So, to get back onto the Spielberg stuff, he thought the film, his copy of the DVD was haunted. He said like the door to his bedroom would lock on its own and all this other stuff.
Okay.
And apparently he would carry the DVD to work in a trash bag because he didn't want to touch it or anything too.
Why was he carrying it around everywhere?
Yeah, and then like I said, he loved the movie so much that he suggested the new ending, which is the ending that you see in the theatrical release.
So aside from that one and the shooting with the cops, what was the other one?
So there were 3 endings. Police coming in and shooting Katie.
So who, I guess in that situation, did somebody call the cops or did they just show up?
I don't have the exact here.
Okay, that's
Yeah, you could look it up real quick.
I would have assumed that because of all the noise that was coming from
It was
the house,
called from somebody.
somebody else would have
cool.
done
That
it.
makes sense, yeah.
The theatrical release that we know where Katie gets possessed and kills Mika. And then the third one is actually Katie cutting her own throat open
Oh.
and just killing herself. So I understand why they didn't use the last 2 because it jumps into sequels and stuff now too.
Speaking of sequels, did you know there was a Japanese sequel?
Really?
Like a direct sequel?
They call it Paranormal Activity 2 and Tokyo Nights.
I think I've seen it.
It's very weird, but it's actually quite good. And very creepy.
I think I've seen it. It's like they're
It's
in like a basic like Japanese house.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
There's
pretty
a
sure I've
there's a
seen it.
scene where like there's a woman that has like her legs are broken and she stands up
Yes, I have
and her
seen that.
legs are
Yeah.
like creaking
So
and
it actually starts in America and then I guess a student travels back to Japan afterwards.
I just wanted to bring that one up because a lot of people don't know that one.
That sounds really cool. I would be into this.
I believe I've seen it too, and it was quite good. Yeah. So, like I was saying before, a lot of people would argue that this is the movie that really kicked off the found footage genre, which I'm inclined to agree with. I think the biggest one would be the Blair Witch Project, but this is the one that really pushed it into mainstream and had other people start making movies.
I think a big reason for that is streaming services. I remember there were so many of these movies that were like straight to streaming services essentially. You know, a lot of lower budget horror mostly.
And they're so easy to like. They were so easy to make.
We could literally make one ourselves if we wanted to.
Yeah,
It wouldn't be good,
it would be good, but
but we'd make it.
We
Well,
could
we
start
make
it
it.
in this room. It could be based on like the first one that we
Oh,
film.
no.
I think it'd be cool.
Um,
And Sarah walks in and she's possessed, but it's real.
but it's real. And we all die.
Is there a window in here?
there is, yeah.
Okay, thank fuck.
It's got bars over it though because it's a basement suite.
Oh, well then
Well, we're
fucked.
screwed.
Yeah, we're literally trapped in here.
No.
Yeah, so like I was saying, a lot of people attribute this film as the one that really kicked off the genre, which again I would agree with. Yeah, this one really.
Can you name any other ones that like you can think of that immediately like came out right after this? Besides, like there's Cloverfield.
The year after.
The year after.
I can't off the top of my head because I'm not really good with years, but a lot definitely did come out.
Mm-hmm. What year did the Wreck movies come out? Because that was obviously
that was the same year, 2007.
Wow.
It must have come out. Maybe it came out near the end of the year, so Wreck came out in November of 2007.
But it wouldn't be as big because it's not an American film.
No.
Paranormal Activity came out a month before Wreck.
Can you look up the Poughkeepsie tapes? When did that come out?
Poughkeepsie.
Poe as in Bill.
Because a lot of people also still don't. That one's still quite underground.
Pough.
Oh, that one came out before Paranormal Activity.
Yeah, that movie. We'll definitely cover this movie because it is hard to watch.
Another one that I completely forgot about that came out a couple of years after. The whole thing isn't found footage, but a lot of it is District 9.
Yes.
That movie's amazing.
Yeah.
The VHS 2, Grave Encounters 2.
Okay, so just to put this into context, before Paranormal Activity, Wikipedia's got like a full list of found footage movies. I can probably count on two hands. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. There's about 20 to 25 movies that came out that were found footage before Paranormal Activity.
Which ones were, I guess, bigger?
It'll be hard to tell from here, but obviously Blair Witch, something called the Zombie Diaries. I don't know if you guys have heard. The Hunt, I guess, would be a bigger
Zombie
one.
Diaries. That wasn't anything to do with George Romero, because I remember he tried to dabble in some of those.
That
no, it's not.
was-
It's
no,
not
it's
that
not.
one. But he also tried to. Found footage was becoming a big thing, and he tried to do his own, like Diary of the Dead. He tried to do his own found footage movie.
The only ones really before Paranormal Activity that are big in Blair Witch, Cannibal Holocaust, the Alien Abduction. So again, about 25 that came up before Paranormal Activity. Afterwards, the list is like
Is huge.
there's probably 100 and 150 that came up before. So
Yeah,
I think that really sums
Probably
it up.
more to come.
I hope so.
Yeah, there's a bunch that haven't released yet that are slated to come out this year.
And we'll cover a few of them.
We're going to cover Grave Encounters, 6 episodes.
just for the first movie, and that's it.
All the subtle nuances in it. Like I was saying before, there's no real script. It was mostly all improvised, just like Blair Witch. Like there's a ton of similarities to the Blair Witch with this, and that's probably why it worked so well. And also happening so much later probably helped as well, so it's not so fresh in people's minds, right?
Yeah.
He's gonna say something really deep, and it's,
I was just gonna say, I guess if you're in this situation, be nice to your partner. Don't gaslight them. Don't pull up a Ouija board.
I also just want to say that I really hate the fact that anytime I look at you, I'm forced to look at a possessed Linda Blair because she's right over your left shoulder.
So one of Drew. Yeah.
Like I was saying before, the movie has no credits other than the main production company. So the developers of the film, when I think it was like an early release or something, people were walking out, and their immediate thought was like, holy crap, nobody likes this movie, everybody's walking out. But apparently it was so terrifying to these people that they had to leave.
It's the tension, the way it builds the tension in the film. And I get that it maybe loosens. How many times have you seen it before today? Or yesterday, whenever you watched it again?
Total, I've maybe seen it 3 times.
Okay, so I thought you just got bored of it because you'd seen it so much, but I don't know. It's just the way, again, even though I know everything that's going to happen, there's tension in the movie that I feel like it will always scare me. Yeah,
I think it'll always scare me. Even if like not a lot happens in the movie, I think it'll still scare me, and there's still images that will haunt me.
And you know what it is, Ryan? It's not the fact that it's the movie itself that's scary. It's me putting myself in that situation. I scare myself.
Which makes sense because it doesn't scare me at all, and it just seems like a boring movie now. And I think it's
Yeah.
because my mind is so rational now that it's like, no, this stuff is
Right.
silly.
Yes, so rational.
So silly.
get
Unlike
that.
like The Exorcist, or for another found footage, Grave Encounters. I've seen that movie like 20 times. I fucking love it, and I'll rewatch it anytime.
A lot happens in that movie, though.
Oh, it's so good. I don't have too much left here. I got one really interesting.
Let's end on that.
Okay, well, we will. VHS was discontinued in North America before or right around the time of the release for this movie, so it only got a DVD. However, the Netherlands received a VHS release of this film. So if anybody has the Netherlands VHS version of Paranormal Activity,
Send it to
give
Ryan.
it to me. I am now on the hunt for it.
You might need I don't know if some VHS players from other countries, you might need a
right.
different one.
Yeah.
I just want to display it.
You don't even care to watch it.
I just would be too scared to even have that.
I like having, like, it's also like almost like having, like, when you have the Ring on tape.
Oh fuck, man.
Yeah.
Ugh. Ugh. Well, thanks for joining us on episode 5, right?
Yes.
Episode 5, holy shit.
Oh my god!
Survive the night. On the next episode, I believe we're going to be discussing House. It's about a doctor. You guys know what House is. But thanks for joining us. It's not actually about the
It's
doctor.
on Percocet.
It's 1985 House, or 1986.
Yeah, it jumps back and forth
Yeah,
between 85
I've seen
and
it in
86
both
a lot,
too.
yeah.
Thanks for joining us on episode 5, where we talked about Paranormal Activity. On the next episode, again, we're going to talk about House. My name's Amir. I'm co-hosting here with Ryan
Yes.
and Andy.
Bingo.
If you want to follow us on social media, Instagram is s.t.n_podcast. If you want to follow us on Twitter, it's at StNpod. And if you want to email us, you can do that at survivethenightpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks again for joining us, and we will talk to you next time.
Bye.